Go ahead and do the right thing. We asked the oldest person in the room. For me, I used to be a comedian when I was in college, so that kind of makes the mood go a little better. And because I deal with all this particular scholarship, also I got a southern accent that I sound like a preacher. So therefore, I'm able to disseminate this particular scholarship here where we can break it down to the masses of people, where we make it plain and simple, you see. If I talk like this and all of that type of stuff, which I could because my mother was an English teacher which retired in 1990. But if I talk like that and then talk like I was one of you, then all of this would seem boring and vague and broad, and you'd be getting up walking out of here. So the whole thing is the same way where you got a good preacher that can keep you in church and say nothing. We'll do it with the same old science here. Now, what's that?
Mother-in-law.
Okay, can I have permission to speak? Okay. Now, okay, anybody get pregnant? Well, not this time. Okay. That's after Christmas when most people come home pregnant. The holidays ain't quite gotten you yet. So we're going to pull libations, because the first thing we want to do is we want to invite the spirits. First thing I want to do, we have Christians and we have Muslims, and if you got to challenge me, I don't care if you're the best Sunni, I don't care if you're Nation of Islam, I don't care if you Pigfoot Baptist with no shirt on and all of this. If you feel free to challenge me, if you can tell me one reason how all these religions are not the same, then I'll give you $1 million. The thing is, we are all divided because one thing, we haven't studied the origins of all the other religions to find out if it's the same. And that's the first thing I'll start off with, is to see if it's all the same. Now, I should have brought some more notes, but I got 4 pages. Well, let's just do this right quick. This pull libration. First of all, we'll call out some African gods, some Islamic gods, and some Christian gods. First African god we'll call out, and then we'll call out some ancestors and invite them. First African god we'll call out is the Great Mother Nut, which is, as a matter of fact, I think I did bring some pictures to show you this. The Great Mother Nut, or the Great Mother Apit, which is Thai Earth, which is the first primordial goddess of all time, which Elijah Muhammad said that Allah created itself out of the feminine half of the universe. So this first primordial goddess of all times is just above heaven. Now that's kind of deep. We're trying to get to heaven, but heaven is a veil before the Great Mother. It is just a veil. And I don't think I brought it, but she's a hippopotamus goddess that is in Africa, in the Temple of Dendera in Hemmitt. In this Temple of Dendera, and I always say this, you can get my videos and see the whole thing, get the Dogon, where you can see the whole unveiling. And they have this hippopotamus goddess. Hippopotamus, because a hippopotamus is a water cow that comes up out of the water. It represents the womb, and a big pregnant stomach that represents a pregnant woman. It has its first son, Soot, and we'll stop right there and I'll explain Soot and missions of Soot in a minute. But also, this particular goddess is in the particular planosphere, or they call it the zodiac of Dendera, which represents all of the stars, all of the gods, and all of the heavens going in a spiral. And one particular goddess is giving birth to all of those, the great womb of the universe, which is later called the primordial waters of Noon, which is called the goddess Nut in later Kemet, because there's 2 mythologies that's going on in Kemet. We'll trace this all the way back to what we would say, what would be your religion. Now, this particular goddess is giving birth, and she's this hippopotamus goddess, and she's in this particular zodiac of Dendera, which is 90, the concept of this is 90,000 years old. They tore down an older temple and built the other temple, a newer temple in the Ptolemy period up, with the same inscriptions that they got out of the wall of the older temple. They tore that down and all. So here you go. They tore that down, and they built another one. Now, this is what the deal is. So we're going to call on, I'm drinking the water. You might well give me another cup of this too. Now, so we're going to call on, so okay, now look, now, this is the, now, okay, look, you all, going back, I need you, and you, because you're going to give the experience and not hold 9 yards and stuff, so you all go ahead and all this type of thing. Yeah, well, she's going to give her experience too, right? Okay, the first goddess that we're going to call is the goddess Apit, Thai Earth. And we call out the goddess and we go Ashe. So, Thai Earth. Ashe. Okay, the next one would be the goddess segment, which is, this is the goddess segment, which is a cat goddess that is actually in the medulla oblongata, because as above, so below, as within, as without. Those same gods that exist also exist in you, which is in the medulla oblongata of the base of, no, medulla oblongata is here, is what they call the beast of Babylon, which is at the base of the spine. It travels up and goes from south to north, and when you have that, you have your evolutionary enlightenment that they call Christhood. You worship in yourself. Oldest secret on the planet, and the white man knows it and laugh at it every day. So that's the goddess segment, which is in the middle of the earth, called the Sphinx, the god who, and she's in the middle of the earth, and she's called the Sphinx, and which has two breasts if you look at it real good. And remember now, the feminine word, the Sphinx is a Greek word, and that Greek word is a feminine gentrix, which means it is a feminine characteristic, what they're saying that. So that god is segment. Okay, we're going to do some, we just go right along, we do some Yoruba goddesses. Oshun, Ogun, Alegba, Babalu Aye, Yakumpa, Umbelenga. Okay, Shango. Okay, we do some more Hermetic gods. Aset, which is Isis. Osar, which is Osiris. Heru, which is Horus, the first archetypal Christian figure. Okay, let's see. The blue-black god Sut that is given birth with this hippopotamus god that is giving birth to the first god of all time. If you trace that god all the way back, it comes back to one particular god in the mother. The first god of all time is the god Sut. Later represented as Set. Sut is a blue-black god and is a black god, which all the other gods in Kemet, in the later cults of Kemet, take their god from. Now that particular god is called the black god. Osiris is later called the blue-black god, or the lord of the perfect black. Ra is called the blue-black god, or the god of the perfect black, in the Hermes Trismegistus of the Tehudian papyrus. They all take their particular role after the first blue-black god Sut. That blue-black god Sut is later on falls from heaven. You know the whole Lucifer story you get in the Bible of this fallen angel. He later on falls, and when he falls in the Hermetic papyrus of the British Museum, he is none other than the European, because it says so right in the Hermetic papyrus of the British Museum. And all, which also remind me, I got to give the people who listened into to the radio station last week. I got to get this out because I'm spitting all over the place. The people who listen to the radio station on Friday, we got a treat for you. You can come down and you can pick up this particular papyrus roll, because they had a whole debate on homosexuality, and we got the actual homosexual papyrus of the Griffith papyrus in Leighton, England, where they stole it out of Egypt, talking about these Europeans being the homosexuals that they talk about as the bisexuals or whatever. 5,000-year-old papyrus and stuff. So we'll have those on hand sometime next week. Also, and I don't want to disgrace the ancestors by putting the gum on there, I put it down here. Now, so that particular god is later on called Set Typhon, which is later on goes into Samaria and called Shaitan or Satan, which you get Satan comes from the Hebrew text and all. All documented and all. There's no debate. Also, now for all you people that's afraid of going to hell, thinking you're going to hell, I say this thing also too. Now, how in the devil can the sun be, 93 million miles away from the earth? Right? It's 93 million miles away. Now, if it comes in just a million miles closer, the earth will burn up. But how in the devil you're going to have a place that's 9,000 times hotter than hell, it exists a couple of thousand miles down? It don't make no sense. But Sheikh Anta put rest to that particular story when he came in 1986, right before he died at the King Center, where he says that they got the hell story out of the Egyptian Book of Gates, which is now called the Egyptian Heaven and Hell by Aiwass for $5. The Egyptian Book of Gates is lower and higher astral planes. The lower astral planes is called hell. This is called hell because it is a physical matter. So we are in hell. Ooh. So we are in hell. But the Jews or the Hebrews, our own black people, took that and added it into the Torah 100 years before Christ was born. They didn't even have it the first 600 years. They added it into the whole Torah, which is our black people, because remember, those people that came out of Kemet then were black people out of a family dispute. They got kicked out. And we know the story on that. You can get Josephus' work on against Apion, or you can get Charles Finch's work, Echoes of the Old Dark Land, where they had the Kemetic origin of Judaism or Hebrewism. Anyway, that particular segment of history we have the actual Jews, which are blue-black people that had a family dispute. The white Jews did not come into the history of Judaism until the Moors of Spain, when the Moors were ruling Spain, and they had a fight between the Islamics and the Christians, and they had to choose either side. One group of white people chose to seek an alternative religion, and they chose the ancient Hebrew faith of the ancient black people. Your remnant of those black Jews are either in what you would call the Gaza Strip, where you got blue-black people that's sitting there right now in Palestine and Jerusalem, and also in Ethiopia. Those are your black Jews, so we understand that. Now, so to get on the road, let's go with some gotta get some more. Let's go on with some ancestors. I'll call my two ancestors that passed. My grandmother that passed in 1990. Her name is I gotta give another god. We're going to do a god for the god Aiwass. Remember that. I'm going to tell you what Aiwass is. Ashe. The name of this lecture is the Mothership to the Aiwass Factor. And that's our saving grace, how we're going to get out of this mess. We got straight up facts. Ain't no more excuses. Ain't no excuses to not be conscious. Because we giving you the facts on how you're going to get out of here. The only reason why you wouldn't be conscious is you think the white man going to rule another 1,000 years, so you might as well get paid. But since he's only going to rule for about 4 or 5 more years, you might as well get on it. Or you'll go out with his karma. And don't be caught going out with the beast and all. Now, so that's Aiwass, Ashe. Now, we give some family. My grandmother died in 1990. Her name is Miss Irene Shaw. Ashe. Her sister, she was 85. Her sister died. She was 90, what, 2? Huh? 91. She died 2 years later in 1992. Her name is May Ford, Ashe. Now, that's for my family. Now, give me some families right quick.
Edith Jackson.
Ashe. Ashe.
Rosie Jones.
Ashe. Ashe.
Audrey Griggs.
Ashe. What's that?
Audrey Griggs.
Ashe. Give me 2 more. Okay, Judge Coleman. Boom.
Ashe. Muhammad.
Hold up.
Khalil Muhammad.
Ashe. What was the other one? Somebody else? Ashe. Give me 1 more.
Moyne Hicks.
Ashe. We can go all day with that stuff. That is our health is. We can be all day with the whole Ashe lecture. The stuff we eat, all kinds of pig guts and cows and bats and all kinds of stuff like that, and high blood pressure can get them mad. Because you know black people can't get mad if they can't get nothing else. They can get mad now. That's that Negro in us. And remember now, we are all in Niggers Anonymous. I'm Bobby Hemmitt. I'm a recovering nigger. I'm a recovering nigger. I got enough nigger in me to last till I die, so I'm always struggling against niggerhood. You understand? So by me being a recovery, we're all in Niggers Anonymous. We're all 2 days in the consciousness. You understand how that goes and stuff? Niggers Anonymous and stuff. I'm a recovering nigger. You know how that is and stuff. And that's worse than any crack on the planet. Check? Yeah. Okay, now let's get on with it. Number 1, we're going to go into, we're going to do a little swing here. We're going to go into the origins of Freemasonry, which we understand that the Freemasonry came up out of ancient Kemet and the ancient Egyptian mystery system, or the ancient Hermetic mystery system. You all know that. Cool. What we're going to do is we want to understand how did the Europeans start getting into. If you notice, most of the Mason has Islamic structure. If you go down to the Fox Theater, and it also has the Egyptian structure. Well, the Hermetic structure is the origin of it, but the Islamic structure came when the Moors were introduced to Masonry by the Moors, the white people were introduced to Masonry by the Moors of Spain. That's why how you get the Islamic origin of that. And the science that they gave to them, because the Moors in Spain, when they ruled for 700 years, understood that their prophecy, that they would fall one day. You understand? By that, they understood that they had to put the Masonry in the European hands and give him something to lift himself up so he won't be that much barbaristic to kill you. But then again, he did kill a couple of billion of us, so therefore, it's a matter. If he killed a billion of us, if we didn't try to educate him with 16 universities in Spain and even didn't try to educate the Greeks, imagine what he would have been. But remember, he's ruling us on this much of knowledge. And he's doing a damn good job on that much knowledge. Where you get the person that is the archetype of God, is God, and bring him down from the pyramid builders to the project dwellers with this much knowledge. He did a damn good job. As a matter of fact, we can say that this particular devil that is prophesied in the Bible is great. He outweighs the particular devil that you're talking talk about running around with a red fork and pitchfork on. He's greater than that because he is diabolical, because he has wrecked the planet and killed the particular, every animal you can think of is getting extinct, and the people, indigenous people, shot for sports. We got whole races wiped out. No more. Now just think of this, and I said this on my first tape. The Indians had, let's put it, the Native Americans had buffaloes that they were, the Sioux, that they was their main source of particular, main source of food. Now, they knew that they had to kill a particular Sioux, so what they did is they told all the doggone buffalo people, what you call them, perchers or whatever, and the actual people that hunt down the buffalo, they'd give them money if they hunted down the buffaloes. You know these people, they said these people had, I forgot how many million they had. They had something like over 1 million or 2 million buffaloes. And when they got through, they only had 80 buffaloes left. 80. Now you know that ain't nothing but a beast. We can talk about us because people have been fighting, but just killing them up just to not give these people food and all. So we understand that. We don't want to go into that and all, but you can get my tape on the human artificials 1, 2, and 3. They can do that. I had to take 3 tapes to explain the psychotic of this man. So you can get those tapes at Black Media Communication. But anyway, they understood, the Moors understood that they wasn't going to be around anymore because they knew prophecy, just like some of our people were born with veils and understand prophecy. You understand? Now also we're going to take an intermission at a certain point so you can go back and get refreshments or whatever you want to do. You see. But they understood prophecy, so they knew they was going out, so they put the European and taught them masonry. And they took one guy by the name of Saint Germain that these white people are worshiping now. What's that? Oh, that's right. That is right. Come on over here. I'm sitting up here and all of a sudden I'm pumped up, and I got to be that way. You got to come on up here. Look. You got to come on up here because it's time for you to do your thing right now. All right. I want you to introduce yourself. And first of all, I'm going to say this. When we was getting this going, this brother said he does metaphysical poems. And I heard some of the stuff, and I said, man, you need to be on the stage with that. You need to be teaching that to the people. And I'm glad you said that and all, too, because, see, I got pumped up because I know I got a lot of knowledge to give out. Look at all them books. And if I don't get pumped up, we'll be here all night. So what we're going to do is I want you to introduce yourself.
Well, first I want to welcome everyone to the bench room. I'm co-owner of this establishment. Yeah, we hope to really get it going very soon.
And first of all, I need to do this, too. You need to introduce Carly.
Yeah.
And you need to bring him on up.
Okay.
And who else is part of the establishment?
Right there. Right there.
Right. And you need to come up. And the whole thing is, we got this place. This is a beautiful place. You know, real nice, real beautiful and all, you know. When I saw it, I fell in love with it. And we got it right here in this particular part of the hood, which we need more places like this. You understand? To get our people, and especially because we got the AU Center Complex right next door, and we can get our people's mind, so we need more places like this and all. So,
Just go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. And peace to all of you. I'd like to extend a hearty welcome. It overwhelms me to see so many people out on a cold night. But it doesn't matter how cold it is. You come for the knowledge, right? So, you know, we forget about the cold. We have a special intent for this place. We want to do a lot of things. We want to be the ABC connection. We want to make sure A gets to C. So therefore, we are going to serve as B. In doing that, we're going to just try to do everything that we possibly can to keep communications open between the lecturers and the people who want to hear the lecture. So just, you know, if you will, just keep in touch with us, and we'll try to do everything that we can to keep you informed as to what's going on. The things that are of benefit to people of color. We need this information. We need this knowledge. Without it, we're dead. We're dead people. So, you know, I'm not much of a talker unless I'm trying to get some money or something. But right now, I'd just like to turn it over to the brothers and let you enjoy the poems and the lecture. Peace. Thanks. Right. Oh, that's my wife back there, Catherine. She's part of the establishment.
what's your name? Sister Alina. We got the warriors also.
And the baby.
Yeah, that's the baby.
Farad Rashad Abdul Rahman.
All right.
His name is
I'm gonna give you my name.
Right.
And a little thing I call a New World Order.
Peace, peace.
Go ahead.
My name is Hemmitt Rahman, founder of Hemmitt Rahman's Poetic Healing Ministry. I started this ministry because of a burning desire to add my voice to the many men and women who labor with all of their heart, night and day, to lift the fallen humanity into the reality of the presence and the power of God within, which gives me an opportunity to help my brothers and sisters recognize and realize their own unity, strength, and power. Now, with that having been said, I would like to take this occasion to inform the human family of the planet Earth that Almighty God is using this ministry as one of His channels through which He invites Black America to be among the rulers, to be among the builders of that new and better world government of peace and righteousness. The stone that the builders rejected, Almighty God Himself has chosen to be the cornerstone. Glory to God. Hallelujah. Thank you, Father. As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be restored to His original glory, wisdom, and power. Let all who have believed themselves to be weak and disunited say, in the unity of God, we are strong. And through the presence and power of His love, we are almighty. This is the magic of believing. Be ye transformed through the renewing of your mind. I'm going to run through this thing back to things. Material science has not provided answers for the eternally questing soul. Therefore, it is left to the inner vision of mystic and poet to reveal to the weary traveler his kinship and likeness to God. My cup runneth over. My heart overflows with love. For now I see that the God I search for so diligently was always the higher self of me. All right? This is a letter to someone. Dear sweet Keturah, when passing through this world on your spiritual journey, you must not get caught in the material phenomena, in the illusions, delusions, and hard facts. These are the lying appearances. You must learn to see only, belong only to God, good love, life, spirit. The words I speak are words of faith, are words of love, which cannot return unto me void, because I have surrendered completely to God, good love, life, joy. The prince of this world comes, and he finds nothing in me, for I have surrendered completely. I have a little esoteric commentary on that. The prince here represents the negative, destructive, harmful thoughts, moods, and attitudes of the world mind. The reason he finds nothing in me, or no thing in me, is because I have surrendered, meaning I have given all of the energy of my mind to thinking, feeling, and believing only in the power of God. This book that I've written would like to be just one thing from it, and then another thing that would fit in. Creator, making himself into creation and dwelling on the material plane. Creator, expressing himself through the physical body with a human brain. Creator, imprisoning himself within the human form. Creator, only dimly remembering that he is undying, that he is unborn. Something I wrote about, an event that happened in New York where the sister lost 10 children. They were burned. She said that it was faulty Christmas lights. And she came on TV, and the man was holding a coffin about this size. And I was reading it on the subway. And it just filled me up. And when I got home, my wife was reading the same thing in the newspaper. She was filled up. So I said, burning, burning, oh my God, how our children are burning. yearning, yearning in my heart to know why our children are burning. Oh, beautiful black queen, oh, beautiful black queen, mother of civilization, it is you that hold in your arm the future black nation, and they are burning, burning. Tell her, black man, tell her the reason, but don't tell her it was the burning season. To our children whom we once held, to our children whose flesh we now smell, burning, burning, what do we tell when they demand to know why they fell, burning, burning? America, America, genocide, genocide, that is why our children die. Oh, cruel, pompous, affluent, first heathen, we heard you say, by God, it was them niggas burning season. That's the way they talk. Amen. Welcome again, and thanks for the opportunity to share some of my things that come out of my heart with you. And this won't be, I know it won't be first and last time, but we're going to, with the help of God, we're going to build this into a community that will always enjoy things like that. People who want to express, you know. Thank you very much.
All right. Yeah.
He has sodas over there, we say drinks, natural sodas called Everfresh, and some real good stuff. So the sodas, when we do the when we have the actual break, is $1 a bottle, but we have all the rest of the stuff over here for free. You see what I'm saying? So you can go back there and get some refreshments and stuff. This brother is coming to try this stuff. We always want to help a black company out. Now, to get back to where I was, we was talking about masonry. They put, the Moors in Spain put a guy by the name of Saint Germain up on a high cosmic plane. By doing this, they understood the nature of alchemy, and they could take a person and transform a person up to a higher level by dealing with alchemy. Now remember that particular word, alchemy, and remember the process of chemistry that we're dealing with here, because this is what you are broken down on, and this is why you are the people that's going to be saved off the planet, based on alchemy or some type of scientific form that you are carrying, and you have, and the white man wants, and he's going to try to kill you to do it. That's going to be his last doggone string that he pulls when he does that. Now, they put this particular person on a higher plane, and we'll explain this later on, because they knew that Europeans had to go in the West if they wanted to lift themselves up to a higher spirituality. They knew that they could go and they could have this particular guardian angel or this particular overlord, Saint Germain, that would be dwelling with the brothers on the other planes that we are so high up on, the gods of the universe. They put him up on this particular plane so the Europeans could actually pray to him and go through him, and in actuality he could give them the juice. We'll explain what that is to lift them up to a higher level. Now, Saint Germain, after Saint Germain went on, we had what is called the Rosicrucians. We have all the Scottish Rite, the York Rite, and all this that broke out in what, the 1500s, the 1500s, and all this particular Scottish Rite, York Rite, the Grotto Rite, and all these particular masonry groups. But one person that started the real esoteric knowledge in the West was a guy by the name of H.P. Randolph. He was a black man that traveled with Abraham Lincoln. Wrote a book called Sex and Magic. He had a bunch of books, but the only one they have out now is called Sex and Magic. H.P. Randolph, who is the actual father and the founder of esoteric knowledge in the West. Then you have a woman by the name of H.P. Blavatsky that wrote 2 books and other books, The Isis Unveiled and The Secret Doctrines, that actually was taught by this black man, but once she got up, they tried their best to shut him out. And H.P. Blavatsky is the person that they say opened the gates of esoteric knowledge to the West, but it was actually H.P. Randolph who actually taught her. We need to make a note of that particular thing. And you can get that book, Sex and Magic, that is real good. The other stuff they probably won't print. You probably have to go to one of these out-of-print book companies to get it, if you can get it that way. Anyway, she said that she got her knowledge from the Mahatmas, which is a group in India, and later on she did make contact with this particular Mahatma group in India. But what happened was, she went with the Theosophical Society, and this particular Theosophical Society, what happened with them is they had a group of scholars. C.W. Ledbetter, Annie Besant, I'm going to try to out-holler the baby. I think I can do a good job at that. C.W. Ledbetter, Annie Besant, another guy by the name of A.E. Powell, that came on the scene after Blavatsky died. And after she died, what happened with them, what they're supposed to have done was learn the knowledge and start meditating and doing the spiritual work to lift themselves up. But what happened after she died, you had a bunch of scholars that came on the scene, and they wrote about all this metaphysical stuff, but they didn't do anything to transform their bodies. Because they understood, in order for them to survive later on, or their people to survive later on in what is called the Eon of Maya, which is upon us now, they would have to receive something called the Great Works. Remember that name. Key word in Masonry, the Great Works. Even the Masons wrote a book on the Great Works. The Great Works is the key symbol to all of Masonry. When you go up in the degrees, if you're doing the right thing, then hopefully you can receive the Great Works, which has been a big failure to the white boy to this day. We'll explain what that is. Anyway, people grew tired of the actual Theosophical Society. But the Theosophical Society put out a lot of science about the breakdown of white people. Also, there's also keys if you follow the story and actually get into the Theosophical work, even though they put everything in India is where they get all the science, but they never say it's coming from Africa. No. You see what I'm saying? And if they talk about Egypt or whatever, they'll say Egypt like it's some foreign place to Africa and say the word Egypt instead of Kemet and breaking it down. But she also put the works of Gerald Manson, who was the greatest Egyptologist that ever lived other than the black Egyptologist, Sheikh Anta Diop. She put his works, but she put his second book to the Book of the Beginnings, Natural Genesis, in there, and she didn't put the other one because the other one, the first book, in page 27, explains who the white man is and how, and it bears witness to the Yaqub theory of Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, they never said the Africa thing, and they had all this theosophical stuff. Theosophy is what they call it, and I should have brought the two books to show you. But anyway, a group of people grew tired of that. This group of white people say, no, we got to get this great works, and we jiving around, and we need to get up on these higher planes. So a group called the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn came out. And they had people like Aleister Crowley, which is the greatest ceremonial magician in the 20th century. You need to remember that name because a lot of things I'm going to be dealing with is going to be bearing witness to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And other theories that we got problems with is going to bear witness, is going to lock it right in on what we need to do based on that. So that's the key part of this lecture that we're going to get into. Aleister Crowley was one of them, a sister by the name of Dion Fortune that wrote a book called Psychic Self-Defense where she talks about the soulless ones. Human bodies, but no souls inside. You know who she was talking about? She was talking about white people. Because a white man raped her, and you know, sometimes when white people turn against their own spouse, they write all the secrets. Just like those two sisters that wrote the book, The Great Cosmic Mother, telling all about the white boy and his nasty stuff coming out of barbarism. So her name is Dion Fortune. She was a part of that society. A lady by the name of Lady Frida Harris that did these particular tarot cards and so on, and it's called Egyptian Tarot by Aleister Crowley. Different other people, people named A.E. Waite, who did the Holy Kabbalah, and different people. MacGregor Mathers that wrote a book, Kabbalah Unveiled. This is the Golden Dawn, and this was a big ritual book of the Golden Dawn with all this stuff. Over 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 pages of just rituals and stuff. Anyway, they got the link where they got in touch with the celestial realm. They had one of the greatest initiated when he was in his early 20s by the name of Aleister Crowley. But first of all, I want to backtrack because I want to deal with some stuff with the Theosophical Society tapped into, because they understood the nature of their people, and they understood that if we're going to cure a people, we got to understand the nature, and then we can work along with it. So that was their Crackers Anonymous that was going on also too. And the nature of it says, if you really want to understand the nature of the European, which is a footnote out of the secret societies of England, they say you must get A.E. Powell's book, The Astro Body. And in his book, they said the footnote is page 169. Now, this is white people talking, A.E. Powell. And the Theosophical Society fought hard for his works not to be published because they understood that this man was telling some things about the nature of white people. And they said the footnote, if you want to understand the nature of white people, the footnote It's on A.E. Powell's Astral Body, page 169. And it says, and I'll read this to you so we can go on. It says, the astral corpse. A corpse is a dead person, which we're finding out not even the word carcass, which means dead, also a dead body, and the Caucasus Mountains mean the dead hills, and because that's called Asia, before it was Europe, Caucasian, which means dead Asian. So this particular astral corpse, which is a dead person, they say the astral corpse or shade is an entity, which is not in any sense a real individual at all. Now listen. Nevertheless, it bears his, yours, personal appearance. Not saying that it's black, but it's got two eyes, a nose, 2 lips, and 2 legs and arms and stuff. You see what I'm saying? A poor portion of that, but it does have those particular things. So it says it bears his personal appearance. This is the key. Possesses his memory. Possesses your memory. And your little idiosyncrasies. Even though they don't do a good job, they do that. Especially on the intellect part. Because the beast is smart. We are smarter, but the beast is smart. He's clever and cunning. Okay? May therefore be readily mistaken for him. Who is him? The black man and the black woman. You understand? Code words. As indeed, it says, it is not conscious of any of its interpretations. Which saying that it is the nature of this thing that automatically does it. They don't have to be conscious of their racism or conscious of different things on how they try to pretend to be like you and you say everybody, everybody. You understand? Everybody, everybody. We just all one people. You see how they go? They're not conscious, and the whole thing is you being tricked because they're born your temporary intelligence. It's like a comedian or a spook. You understand? Okay. It says, it is far as its intellect goes, we must necessarily suppose itself to be an individual. Say because of the intellect, we think it's a doggone individual. Okay, you got that? It is really merely a soulless bundle of the lowest qualities. And this is the white man talking. You got a problem with Elijah Muhammad saying the same thing. See? But we're going to bring it to the white people, and you can make it think. So when we go on into this and stuff, you see what I'm saying? You'll understand, because he got bad karma. Because remember, everywhere it's thundering and raining and flooding, we are not. It ain't doing it in the ghetto. That's right. Peace. Now, if we all the same, why ain't the ghetto get it? Because we God's people, and we done went through our chastisement. All right? Okay, let me go right ahead. Now, the length of its shade or life varies according to the amount of lower material matter that emanates it. What it is saying is we are into the physical world. And as long as we're into the physical world with this white man who is not spirit, he can last. You understand? He can last. And this is the point, the reason why we can't beat him, because we're doing all kind of political utilities on a physical level to try to take the beast out, who is the master of the physical world. Material. In this world, but not of this world. You know that, right? Okay, now, it says, but this is steadily fading out. His intellect is diminishing quality. The thought it possessed a deal of the certain sort of cunning, animal cunningness. Now this is the deal. The reason why you fell in love, because John Henry Clark said, I can't understand how black people, even though we know we wiped out in slavery with black inferiority and black insanity based on everything taken away from us. They said, why are we so doggone fascinated with this white man on the way he looks? That we want to carve our face up and stuff to look that way. But you know how an animal is so beautiful and cunning that you just love the way that dog looks. Or that cat or something. So they said it says it has a cunning ability about it. Animal cunningness that you love. It's the same thing with this European. Now, it says, and even quite towards the end of its career, it is able to communicate by borrowing temporary intelligence from the medium. You get it? From its very nature, it is liable to be swayed by all evil influences and being separated from the higher ego, which is the mind of God. Check? Okay. It has, now this is the key right here. Give it up, black people. Give it up. Now hang it up and be your own beautiful black self. It has nothing in its constitution capable of responding to the good ones, which is you. And at the bottom of the paper, at the bottom of the page, they talk about the black magicians of Atlantis that created these people. That's the same Elijah Muhammad thing. Okay, now, this is coming from the A.E. Powell and the stuff that they wrote out of the Theosophical Society. In this same book, you have what is called human artificials. Human artificials is in here. Human entities, human artificial, animal entities, and when they get to the human artificial with the Europeans, they say check a certain note in here and go to Blavatsky's two books, the Theosophical Society. And when we check that note and cross-reference that note where they said that this nature is, in the note, they're talking about a doggone evolved ape. You understand what I'm saying? Our hair's not ape hair. You understand what I'm saying? That's the white man hand if you shave an ape. You got the same white boy. Put him on a doggone Armani suit. And some doggone some Quorum or some Dracula and stuff alone, and that's what you got. Okay? Do you know, and I'm going to break this too. Do you know? The Darwin, but you got to realize the Darwin thing is this here. The evolve and the missing link is the white man. We were on the planet for millions of years. That particular ape that they're talking about is the white man. And also, not only that, and when I go into, I'm going to give you a piece out of some other stuff that they're talking about. That's the doggone white man is the missing link. It ain't got nothing to do with us because they can't find our doggone history. Trace it and it'll leave the planet and go on other planets until they go to the star system Sirius. We'll get into that also too. Now, so they asked, but do you know this? And I want to get this in here. Do you know? I was lecturing up in Chattanooga. Met a brother that had an article. Do you remember when Fisk University went broke back in the early 80s? What had happened was Fisk had gotten some money from the government to do actual finds on and do work on skeletons. And what they concluded was that the black skeletons were normal. The white skeletons had one part of the tail that was inside of the skin. It was a small tail, and some of them had it pronounced where it was out of the skin. Pronounced tails. Which they say 1 out of 5 has, and I actually saw a picture. There's a brother from the nation by the name of Wesley X, that is the student minister of the Nation of Islam up in Morehouse, had an actual picture with it, but what it is, they cut it off at birth. You see, so that's that evolved ape. So when you go overseas and they say, hey, a black man, let me see your tail. No, it's the white man that knew he had a tail and he put that on you. That's why when you go to Korea and Paris, they say, see that tail. It was the white man that when they got that tail. You see, Fisk got it and they told Fisk that they better not print this particular information, and they put it out in a series of small articles around Tennessee, and the government moved on them. The government moved on them, and remember they had to go without lights in some of the dormitories, and had to go without food and stuff, and they just took all their money away. And Fisk did not get back up until President Henry Ponder, who was at Benedict College, was my president at the school I was going to in South Carolina, left and went to Fisk and brought it back up, and that's when Reagan came in and said, if you get any money you get, I will match that. So he get $5 million from Bill Cosby, Reagan matched it. He got a couple of million from Michael Jackson, Reagan matched it. And that's how they got back on their feet. But they also found out that the pineal gland, which is the part that secretes the melanin, was also calcified in the white man. Also in his brain, or in his remains also, they found out also too. And that's how they almost like went broad. Now, going back to this Golden Dawn, because this is the key, what I'm trying to get on, because number one, remember this word Aiwass. A-I-W-A-S-S. We're going to get into that also too. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn rose up as a group to do spiritual work because the Theosophical Society was not doing it. After Blavatsky died, they kind of fell apart. This guy by the name of Aleister Crowley was real young, and he went into it, crazy white boys. He went into the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and what happened was he got a person that was going to China and leaving the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn and gave him some secrets, so he went up in the degrees real fast and learned this stuff real fast. He went to Hemmitt. Now when he went to Hemmitt or went to Egypt, he found out one thing. His wife started going into these trances because he went over and she kept saying, they know who you are. They know who you are. they know who you are. And so he's saying what? And she couldn't get the answers. So the next day when she woke up, he went and took her to the Cairo Museum and said, I want you to find something in here that is telling you this. Now you can get the book, The Confessions of Aleister Crowley. It's a big, thick book. The rest of his stuff you can't understand. It's really coded. You can't understand his stuff at all. All his books. He wrote over 70 books and you can't understand none of it. But I have decoded it. That's right. Can't keep the black man down because I'm going to tell you what this stuff is about. He went to the British Museum. He said, I want you to find what is giving you the particular, what is giving you the actual, this actual, taking you into trance and saying that they know who I am. His wife Rose, she went through and they looked all day and they found this particular stela. Now, a stela is a slate with pictures on it and hieroglyphics under it. And it says that it has the gods and all that, and it has the actual inscriptions on it, also on the front and the back. She said, that's it. That night, he took the particular stela, went back to the room, when he went back to the room, he wrote all the stuff down on it, went back to the room. When we went back to the room, a certain thing happened. This particular angel came to him. Now, stick close to the story. This particular angel came to him, and I had to get out of print books out of London the name to really understand the story. Now, this particular angel came to him, and this angel gave him a book, wrote it down. He was just writing it down as he goes. Just writing it down, and I'll show you how it looks. Gave him a book, and he was writing these particular pages down as he went, just writing them down. And that book, he named it the Book of Law. And this particular book, if they did the right thing in the particular book through a secret society that he would later on find called the OTO, the Orient Templar Ordos, or the AA, which is the Argentine Ostrom, which is after the star system Sirius that we're going to get into. He said, if you follow these inscriptions, we will give you the great work. Now, the particular man that he saw, this particular angel that appeared, now this is the key to the whole thing. Now listen. Number one, it says, he seemed to be a dark man in his 30s, well-knit, attractive, strong, with a face of a savage king, which, you know, the Europeans talk about, when they say savage, they just mean Africa. You understand what I'm saying? But he's actually, but still yet that's good because he's trying to denote where the doggone fake first come from. He said it was, now remember this now, a dark man in his 30s, well-knit, attractive, with a face of a savage king. His eyes was veiled as if I was to gaze in them, they would destroy what they saw. You heard that whole stuff, the same thing that went on, that Moses couldn't look into the eyes of God. All right, now see, you got to start listening to what I'm in this passage because it's saying a lot of stuff here. It's saying, because Elijah Muhammad told you that the black woman and the black man is God. And every time you look at a black woman and a black man, you're looking at the image of God. Check? Check. Now, he says his dress was not Arab. It was suggested Assyria or Persia. But very vaguely. I took a little note of it. At the time, Aiwass, A-I-W-A-S-S, was an angel, such as I have often seen in visions, a being purely astral. I now indicate to believe Aiwass was not only my guardian angel, or the actual deity of Summer, the ancient Summer, because Summer was a colony of Hemmitt at one time, which was not but black people. He said, but my holy guardian angel, also insofar as he uses a human body to make his link with mankind or man who he loves. He is the impiscimus head of the AA. Now, this is the key. Number one, he said that it's not a spook, it's got a human body. It's a black man. Now, number one, it's got a black man, it's a human body. It's an angel from above. And he said he is the head of the AA. Anybody got my lectures understand? Let's look up the word AA right quick and see what the AA is. The AA is the silver star, the name of the Great White Brotherhood. The Great White Brotherhood is a group of hierarchy that rule this planet on another star system that have the Christ mind, because the White Brotherhood means not white people. It means when you elevate to a level of spirituality, you glow with the halo and you got this Christ mind that all of you can have. You understand? Same thing that dwell in the God dwell in you. Okay? Now, the AA is the order of the silver star, is also in reference to the star system Sirius, Sophis, or Isis. Isis is known as Sirius. Now, what it is saying is this. Now, let's look at this right quick. We got to go and we got a lot of stuff to cover. Our sun is a reflection of a greater sun. Now, our earth goes around the sun every 365 days. Our sun goes around, and that's called a year. Our sun goes around a greater sun every 26,000 years, and that's called a great year, which is called the end of an eon, which the actual Hebrews tell you is the end of the world. It's the end of the old world. Check? Now, this particular sun is the center, it is the central sun of the solar system. Not of this solar system, but it's the central sun of all the solar system in this particular universe. This particular sun is known as Soot, the blue-black god that I told you. His mother is Apit, which is the triple blackness of space. Remember that triple blackness of space, because this is what's going to get you out of this stuff. Now remember what I said. His mother is Soot, the triple blackness of space, and she's so black until she reflects her first light. That particular first light is Sirius, the star system of the dog. Canis Major, the dog turned backwards, is God. That is the particular heaven now that we're talking about. See, the preacher tell you about heaven, but you don't know where it is. You understand what I'm saying? Because half the books is taken out of his book. You see what I'm saying? The Holy Quran being the last book tell you where the doggone thing is. We'll get into that. The Holy Quran tells you in the start. It said this is the God that made both male and female from one single ejaculated semen. This is the God that bestows and enriches. This is the God, and all things must return to God. He is the Lord of Sirius. Footnote, the dog star. Real key, you got to understand this. You got to understand this Sirius thing, and you're going to get out of this mess. This is the saving grace of this planet. Now, there's 8 stars around Sirius. And guess who live on those stars? On that third star called the planet of woman, guess who live on those stars? Black people. Now, check this out. And I said this before. Now, we got all these stars out here. And each star, you know, astronomy has planets around it, which we got life forms on them, too. That the white man never hid from you since 1947, since the first UFO crash in Roswell, New Mexico. Now, take this picture. If you got, now let's take off my coat. If you got all these stars, right? And they got little planets around them. Then the great central star, which is the greatest star that they'll revolve around and get their great years, if it got planets around it, and if that's heaven, then the people that live on that particular planet has got to be gods. Because their sun is not an ordinary sun. Their sun is the sun of all the suns. Guess who live on those planets? Black people. That's the key to this thing, and that's the key why I keep saying this lecture after lecture after lecture. Because the problem we got is we don't believe in ourselves. Even when they see the tapes and stuff, they still don't believe it. That third planet is the star of woman that the Dogon tribe told them about, which is known as Soot in Hemmitt, which is the blue-black god, later on known as Aset, which is Isis, which is called the soul of Sirius, also known as Seb, S-E-B, that when it goes to Samaria is called El Sadi or El Saga, which means God Almighty. Then the Jews take it and call it Jehovah, which the El, which is the Elohims come from. The El that goes into Al, which means God. The Lot, L-O-T, the silent T means Elah, which means Sirius. Check. You know who God is, you know where heaven is, and what dwells in heaven. God dwells in heaven. Then who the hell is God? You are. Now, in the book he said this man is the head of Sirius. But the white man telling you that it's a black man that contacted him. Check. It's a black man that contacted him and said, if y'all white people do the right thing through rituals and spells that I'm going to give you in the book of law, you will get the great works. You don't need to go out and get the book of law because you are God's. You understand what I'm saying? You done call down some spooks on yourself that you don't need because you already got the juice. You don't need that much juice. That's an overdose of juice. Okay? Now, we're going to go back to Aiwass in a minute. But right now, I have to get my notes and stuff and all because we're doing this stuff. There's so much to cover and all. Now, look, I just basically talk out of my head. I just need these trigger notes to trigger the lecture. You understand how they go? So I'm not reading up the paper. It's all up here. You understand what I'm saying? It's in the library, like we used to do on the planet, the Creole. I just need the trigger notes. You understand now? The deal is this. In and we're going to go back to this particular stuff. Now, in 1978, no, the early 70s, excuse me, President Nixon drew up something called the King Alfred Plan, along with Christ, where they said it was going to put black people in concentration camps in case of an event or uprising. They're going to put you in concentration camps. President Jimmy Carter refurbished those concentration camps that they put the actual Japanese in World War II. He refurbished those in 1979. Then in 1989, President Bush closed down 5 army bases. And then said we now got space for dope dealers, but we know they bring in the dope, so they're creating a situation. Then the boy that all us went and voted for, niggas ran through the doggone polls, closed down 5 more. Also the one in Charleston, South Carolina, because South Carolina has the biggest influx of blacks on the doggone in the country. They got whole counties with nothing but more blacks than whites. And all that. So they had to close down the Charleston Naval Base and put 50,000 people out of work. Now why you going to do that? Close down some of the ones in Georgia, but they had to do that because that was a pivotal point, and it's right on the water. And remember the slave court that was in Charleston where you get the gullers and the whole thing? The gullers and that whole thing, so they're doing the colonization and the slavery all over again. Now they close down these particular things, and then what's happening? King Alfred Plan is headed by FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency Management Act, which had that test one on how you was gonna act when they had the Rodney King situation. You understand how that goes? And they had in your particular MARTA bus system lined it and brought the cops to you. See, MARTA is a part of this too, so they got it all right hooked up. You understand? Marcus Garvey said what they're gonna say. Your first holding tank's gonna be these doggone stadiums. Why in the devil now? They're gonna be Atlanta got land in the Cracker area. They could take a doggone golf course and build a dome stadium. Why in the devil they gonna build it right in the middle of the ghetto? You understand? And right near the AU Center complex. Pivotal point. You see what I'm saying? They built it right there in the place called Thunder. Well, let's see, called Lightning. It was a black community called Lightning, and Vine City was called Thunder. You didn't go over there. You understand what I'm saying? They built it there, and then they bought all the people out of Vine City. Now check this out. They bought all the people out, all the houses out of Vine City, because I live over the area now, and it's all empty. And the old people that didn't want to sell their house because they didn't need no money, they're old. What they did is a police officer told me this right outside of Atlanta Nights. I was out there partying one time. Told me right outside there, he said, you know what? He said, they're killing these people. He said, the police and all these people are killing these old women because they want to sell the house. And you know the doggone, the whole thing is going down with what? In Vine City, they're killing these people. So they kill them and make you think so. The next time they come out and say, you want to buy the house? He said, yeah, I'm scared. I want to move out. God told me that in 1978, and I never, 1988. When they first started getting ready for the dome to be built. And I didn't think nothing about it because guess who told it to me? A City of Atlanta police. A black man. He told me that and I didn't think nothing again about it until last year when they killed them other people. You understand? What kind of mass murderer going to take 4 years off from 88 and 87 when they killed the first one and come back in 92 and kill some more? It don't go that way. You understand? Because now that's prime real estate because of the dome and also the Olympic things and all, which is also a diversionary tactic. So now we got the King Alfred Plan. What? Why is the King Alfred Plan? If they're going to take, if they're going to just take it so they can gather us up to kill us, they can do that in the street. They can just pull out the guns and kill us or put something in the chicken overnight. You understand? And kill half the brothers in America. Right? You see what I'm saying? something in the real. They don't want to kill you. The whole key is you got something that they got to have because the planet is accelerating into the fourth dimension. And remember, they say the only reason why it can survive is based on the material matter that is surrounded. If you go in a fourth dimension, which is another dimension away where things disappear into a spiritual world, then you got to have something with the juice of God to even live in that world. Check?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And you got that juice. So therefore, they got to round you up in the King Alpha plan and get the juice.
Well,
You understand how that goes? Also, somebody give me a $10 bill. You got the money over here?
We need a 20. 20.
Well,
20 and above.
no 10 or 20. It's got to have 1990 on it. It's got 1990 on it? 1988. I need 1990 with the last plate. 1990. Somebody got it? Thank you. Now, this is the catch on how they're going to get your behinds in the camp. This is the deal. Now, they understand that the only thing that's separating you from the brothers in the project is the haves and the have-nots. You understand? Somehow you think that you got a little bit of material things, a little carnal, VCR and stuff that you actually better than your brother in the project. And you laugh at them, and the white man laugh at you. Because you his doggone nigga. You understand? And you laughing at the brother in the project that's been catching hell from the 80s. And they have already isolated them too. They are dead people. You the only thing left, and you laughing at them. Talking about they need to get a job and be good Americans. And I made it, why can't they? Don't you know that that's an allotment they meant for a few people to make it? Why they open up the damn black colleges in the first place? To create this division? But the only reason why you got an allegiance to the United States of America is for one reason. You're getting paid. You high-priced hoes. You see, otherwise you wouldn't even take the shit that the doggone cracker got on you. Excuse the expression. But we family now and it's death time, so I can talk any way I want to. We're all going to be down there if we don't hurry up and see what's going on. Now, that's the only thing that's keeping you from being with your brothers and sisters is the haves and the have-nots. You understand? Now, the key is that the money is not backed by no gold. They took it off the gold standard in 1975. They created out of front on thin air and they tell you right on here it's not even money. It is a note of legal tender for all debts in public and private. You understand? Public and private. So what is it saying? It's not any good. Yeah. Now, the only way that you can, now, and you remember this now, it just came on the news the other day and said, oh yeah, we got a big thing of counterfeit about 3 weeks ago. And counterfeit bills, and the only thing we can think of is they're taking that money off and giving you the doggone barcode and debit card, which is under the same act as Bill Clinton is telling you your national health care card.